Yes, brother, this is Shay. We're talking about sexual performance anxiety books. I've just finished reading Come As You Are by Emily Nagoski. So in this video, I'm going to share 3 of the biggest takeaways from that book, specifically related to what we talk about, sexual performance anxiety and erection problems. So if you don't already, grab a pen and paper, because these were really big takeaways actually. Now, first up, you may be thinking, who is Emily Nagoski? Well, she is a sex educator and a researcher who spent decades in this field. So she knows her stuff. Before we dive into the 3 takeaways, if this video is helpful to you, please press the like button. Why? Because that means that the video gets out to more guys so that they can also hear this. We don't talk about this often enough as men, so pressing that like button genuinely really helps. Okay, so let's dive straight into this. The first takeaway from Come As You Are by Emily Nagoski, and although the book, by the way, is primarily aimed towards women, and it's the subtitle is The Surprising New Science That Will Transform Your Sex Life. It's quite a big book, and although it's aimed towards women, there were really helpful takeaways in here for guys as well. So here are the 3 that I got. First one is context is key. Context is key. What do I mean by that? Often when we're not able to get hard in the moment, or when we're not aroused, we question our ability. What's wrong with me? Why can't I do this? Why can't I be how I used to be? We immediately jump to questioning our ability, as opposed to understanding what's going on around me at this moment in time. And I don't just mean in the room, I'm talking about in life. What context do I have in life at the moment? Are there things that are stressing me out? And I'm going to come back to this point in a moment, but just remember that for now. Context is key. It's not so much about questioning our ability as it is me understanding what is going on that could be impacting this in my life. That's the first one. Second one is that desire does not always equal erection. Desire does not always equal erection. And they did a scientific study on this that's shared in the book, and it showed that only 50% of the time does, when a guy has a sense of desire, sexual desire in his mind, does he get an erection. 50% of the time. Now that in study terms is statistically significant. That's a big percentage, 50%, but it's still only 50%. This was fascinating to me in the book. I had no idea about this before, how desire is one thing, that's our mind wanting it, and erection, our genital response, our body's response, is a separate thing. They don't always go together, and they actually only go together 50% of the time. And to bring that to life a bit more with an example, you would have had a time where, let's say you're sitting on the bus or wherever it may be, where you get a spontaneous erection. And clearly there's not a desire unless there's something going on the bus. But in general, when this has happened, there's usually not a sexual desire that we have in our mind, which is on the bus. And we wonder, why has that happened? And exactly the same on the opposite way. Sometimes we can have the desire in our mind to really want to go there with someone, and our man downstairs is saying otherwise. So that's just an example to bring it to life of how desire does not always equal an erection. And that's normal 50% of the time. And the third one is we all have sexual brakes and sexual accelerators. We all have sexual brakes and sexual accelerators. And these give us clues, going back to this context point. It is critical that we understand what activates our sexual accelerator and what puts the foot on our sexual brake, because this gives us clues to the context in which we get turned on and the context in which there's no way we're getting turned on. So, just to recap on these 3, the first one is the context is key. How do we understand the context? Skipping to the third point now, is by understanding what our sexual brakes and what activates our sexual brakes and what activates our sexual accelerators. That how we actually do that, I'll do a separate video on that. And then the third takeaway was that desire does not always equal erection. It only equals erection 50% of the time. So before we go smashing ourselves of, oh, I see this attractive person in the street, why am I not getting hard, as an example, we realize that there's times where we will and times where we just won't. Okay, so in summary, that is some of the 3 biggest takeaways that I took from the Come As You Are book by Emily Nagoski. Although it's primarily aimed at women, I definitely recommend this book. It's quite a big read, but it was worth it. And regardless of whether you're homosexual, heterosexual, there will be benefits for this from reading this. If you're experiencing performance anxiety, and particularly for heterosexual guys, this book will help you get a better understanding of the female anatomy and the female how female sexual pleasure actually works, and what society has told us versus the actual reality. This book will help answer some of those questions and just reveal big truths that you may not have known before. All right, so that is it. And as I said, if you found this helpful, please press the like button below so that other men can see this. Thank you.